Hello and welcome to session 2 with Change4LifeSunderland. My name's Anthony, if you remember, and this is Brian. Hope you all enjoyed session 1 on the Eat Well guide. If you haven't seen it, you can always go back and look at that video in your own time. But today what we're going to be doing is looking at fats and sugars. Okay, so we're going to go through that a little bit. I'm going to have a few props to look at as well. Very interactive, very fun this session, and we're going to make a recipe at the end of it. So guys, we're just going to do a quick reminder of last week's session, okay? So what can you remember about the Eat Well guide? Okay, can you remember everything that we talked about? If not, we're going to go through a little bit of a recap now. So, Eat Well guide, yeah? How many sections are on that Eat Well guide? Can you remember? Yeah, that's it. There's 5 sections, okay? The first section, the big section here in green, was fruits and vegetables. And they're very important, remember? 5 a day we should be having at least, so if you can have more, have more. Fruit and veg, very important because they contain vitamins and minerals, which are really good for our body, prevent us from getting colds, coughs, flus, sickness bugs, illnesses, things like that. So if you can get a nice rainbow of colours in there, mixture of fruits, mixture of vegetables over the course of the day, fantastic. Okay, that's your fruit and veg. Your big yellow section there is your carbohydrate section. Remember what carbohydrates provide our body with? Lots and lots of, that's it, energy. Yeah, lots and lots of energy, really good for doing sports, activities, to help us concentrate, to help us perform really well in school, really important. So carbohydrate foods, things like your porridges, potatoes, bread, rice, pastas, things like that. Okay, so that's your carbohydrate section. The pink section, remember what this one's called? Yeah, it's good for muscles, okay, and this is your protein section, okay? So good for growth, repair, recovery, yep, in your muscles, okay? So things like chicken, fish, eggs, beans, lentils, pulses, lots of different varieties there. So make sure you do get your proteins in. It's a little bit smaller than the other 2 sections, so we don't need as much of, but very important nonetheless. You should still be getting that in your diet, okay, over the course of the day. The blue section is our dairy section, okay? So the dairy section contains calcium, which is good for 2 things in our body. Can you remember? Your, what are they? Bones and, what are these? Teeth, that's it. So bones and teeth, really good. And the 3 main foods that we find in this section, if you remember from the last session, are cheese, milk and yogurt. Lots of different versions and varieties of those. So try and get the version that you like in, because they do all contain calcium. Try and stay away from the ones that maybe have a little bit of sugar in or a little bit of fat, but yeah, get that section there. And the final little section there, you can tell it's a little bit smaller, so we definitely need it. It's still very important, but maybe not as much as the big section. So the little section in purple, it's oils and spreads. Things that you might cook in. Olive oils, coconut oils, butter, things like that, spreads. Very important. Keep us warm, protects our organs, and do provide our bodies with a little bit of energy. Yeah, so very important to get those in, but not in the big amount as maybe the other sections. Okay, so today, guys, we're going to stop at this section here. It's off the Eat Well guide. Yeah, and Brian's going to explain that in a second why it's off the guide. But basically, these foods and drinks are fats and sugars, things that we maybe don't have as much of. But Brian will explain that in a little bit more detail.
Yeah, so we're just going to bring up the next slide there now. And as you can see there, we've got the foods and drinks that are either going to be high in fats, high in sugars, and it could be quite possibly high in salts as well. So you might look at some of those foods, you might think some of those foods look really nice, yeah? Do to us as well. And they're absolutely okay to have in moderation, in smaller amounts and less often, okay? So we want to have these foods less often, smaller amounts. We might have these foods as a snack, we might have them as a dessert, we might have it eaten out as a takeaway, as a treat, that sort of thing, okay? But we're going to have a little focus on these a bit more depth today, and like I've just said, we've got quite a few different props and a few little activities that we want to try and get across in the video today as well. The first of which is what we'd like to do is either quickly grab a pen and a paper and write down, as a family activity, as many foods and drinks you can think of that might be high in these ingredients here. Because all these 3 ingredients make foods taste really good, but can all be quite unhealthy as well. So what ones do we come to mind straight away? Okay, so 30 seconds, yeah, either write it down or just have a quick little chat about it, and then we're going to go through what we've come up with as well. Are you ready? Steady? Go. Okay. 30 seconds on the clock?
30 seconds on the clock, we're away, yeah.
Okay.
Come on guys, so think of all those foods that might be high in fat, high in sugar. Some examples there, just think of your favourite foods. What tastes nice? What's yours, Brian? What would you say?
Fish and chips would be up there.
Fish and chips, definitely,
Yeah.
Even, other takeaways, pizzas, burgers, yeah. Anything else you can think of?
Got some crisps, yeah, crisps on
Crisp
there.
on there, yeah.
Okay.
Cake, anyone like cake? Yeah.
Things like ketchup as well, isn't it?
Ketchup, yeah.
Ketchup is surprising, yeah.
Yeah.
I bet you can get a big list even in just 30 seconds. As much as
3,
you can.
2, 1, and there is your time.
Yeah, right. So we'll put it on the
Excellent.
next slide there, and then we'll see what comes up. So what foods and drinks did you come up with that might be high in sugars? Okay. We've got a list here, some of the ones that we've came up with, and I'm sure you might have something similar. You might have a lot of other different ones as well. Foods that might be high in sugar, sugar itself, table sugar, yeah, and we might put on cereal or in drinks like tea, coffee, things like that, yeah. Okay. Fizzy pop and squash, yeah. So, your colas, your lemonades, things like that, yeah. Squash, yeah. Even the diluted cordial, if it can have added sugar in it as well. Sweets, chocolate, cakes, biscuits, yeah. Obviously we know they taste quite sweet, that's a lot of the time because of the sugar. Jams, marmalades, chocolate spread, lemon curd syrup, things that we might put on toast, yeah. Desserts, cakes, energy drinks. Energy drinks is a big one. They contain a lot of sugar, but they also contain a lot of other harmful ingredients as well. They can contain a lot of caffeine, a lot of other stimulants that can speed up our heart rate and make you feel like you've got lots of energy. If you have a sensitivity to some of these ingredients, it can cause really dangerous side effects. So we would always advise against energy drinks, not just purely because of the amount of sugar. In one kind of energy, you might be looking at 15 to 20 spoonfuls of sugar, but it's the other ingredients as well. Okay, so that's our list there. Okay, wonder if you came up with anything similar there. Okay, that's a sugar. Should we have a little look at fat? Okay, so which foods are going to be high in fat then? Did you come up with anything like this? Fried foods. So I mentioned there, crisps, takeaways like fish and chips, yeah, deep fried foods, butter and ordinary margarine, yeah. So like we mentioned, a little bit of fat is essential in our daily diet, but if we're putting it on in big chunks, yeah, that's not going to be very good for us, yeah. Pastries, pies, pasties, yeah. The pastry on a pie or sausage roll, something like that, is being made with butter, oil. That's going to be quite high in fat. Cakes, chocolates, biscuits, yeah. Crisps, nuts. Now nuts are high in a unsaturated fat, okay. So Brazil nuts and walnuts and things like that, yeah. A little bit of that is okay. Also, you get some protein from nuts. We'd be sort of avoiding things like having less often, like your salted nuts, things that have been heavily salted or even kind of coated, like a sugary kind of sort of coating as well. Full fat milk, yogurts and cheese. Again, all of those things are part of our dairy food group. Do contain calcium, do contain a little bit of protein, but they can contain, especially cheese, quite a lot of fat as well, yeah. So just keep a little eye more on our portion size on those ones, rather than just not having them. Fatty meats, yeah. We often see on certain types of meat, you can actually see the fat around the outside of it, or you can see it kind of cutting through the meat before it's even cooked, yeah. We know that those are going to be high in saturated fat. We want to have less of that where possible and choose leaner meats. So when we kind of like picking proteins and things like that, try and then go for leaner meats such as like kind of chicken breast, turkey breast, or especially more fish as well. Okay, and takeaway foods like we kind of like touched on already. Burgers, fish and chips, pizzas, yeah. They taste good, can taste good, but they can taste good because they've got a lot of unhealthy toppings on there as well, yeah. So it's kind of keeping an eye on some of those ones there. So did you come up with any suggestions like that? I'm sure you probably did, yeah. And I'm sure we could have made a bigger, longer, much more kind of comprehensive list if we wanted to, because there's so many foods and drinks out there like that. So we're just going to move on to the next slide now, okay? And you might have even come up with a fair few that's come up on this picture here. Any on there that take you off, Adrian?
Yeah, there's quite a few, but remember guys, everything in moderation, yeah. Yeah, so just some good examples there of what we've been talking about.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So like we've mentioned guys, you might have some of these foods that you've got on your list or that we've talked about just there as snacks, okay? So when do we snack? Yeah, when do you think we snack? There's lots of different times when we might. After school, even in school, yeah. In between meals, watching television before bedtime, yeah. So lots of different times throughout the day and in your lifestyle when you might snack, okay? And why do we snack? That's a big question. We snack maybe because we're hungry, yeah. It's convenient, you can grab it, okay? Out of habit, yeah. You do it one day, same time the next day, I'll do it again, and the next day, and the next day, and it goes on and on and on. So it becomes a habit, okay? You might do it because you're bored. It's there, why not? Grab a handful of crisps, grab a handful of chips. You might have a bit of a takeaway if it's still in the box. You just go for it because you're bored and because it's there. Okay, so there's some examples of why we snack. Okay, and like Brian's mentioned, they can be very unhealthy because they are high in sugar and or fat, and having too much of this can lead to health conditions or health problems down the line if you have them every day, for every meal, all of the time. As a little bit of a treat now and again, absolutely fine, yeah? But we don't want these foods every single meal, every single day of the week. Okay? Excellent. So, the next thing we're going to look at are sugary snacks, and also the amount of sugar that are in certain foods. So the foods that you've mentioned, yeah, hands up if you do like maybe a chocolate bar now and again. Yeah, now and again, Brian, yeah. Yeah, maybe a fizzy pop now and again. So when you have these foods, you might just eat them, you might just drink them without a care in the world. Now, we're going to show you how much sugar actually goes into these foods. So, can anybody guess how many teaspoons, and by teaspoons, yeah, just mean one of these, goes into your standard chocolate bar, like a Mars bar or a Snickers or something like that? Just a chocolate bar, how many teaspoons? Yeah, have a guess. Okay, 8. Okay, can of Coke, a little bit more, or a fizzy pop. Doesn't have to be a Coke, but a fizzy pop. Anything you might have, roughly around 10 teaspoons. Now we're going to have a look and see what that looks like in real time. Okay, so 8 teaspoons. We're going to measure this out, and we can count together. See if we can get there. Okay, so guys, 8 teaspoons, okay, so we'll count that out together. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. That is what, have a look there, that's what 8 teaspoons of sugar looks like, okay? So you might not have seen that before, you might think, wow, that is quite a lot. Do you think that's a lot, Bri?
When you see it in the glass, it really hits home how much it is, yeah.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah. So when you're drinking a can of a chocolate bar, you might think, oh yeah, I've just eaten it. Don't really think too much of it. Yeah. Let's see how many 10 looks like. So when we add the 10, it's going to go in now to the 8. We're going to get 18 teaspoons of sugar. Okay. So we'll continue onwards. That's 8 teaspoons. We're going to go up to 18. So this will be 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Wow, what do you think of that?
I think what's kind of really kind of shocking about that is that it's quite easy to have those two together at the same time.
Absolutely.
And no way are you kind of sort of, you're going to be thinking that when you're having them, you're having nearly a full glass of sugar in one go. Because like I say, you might put sugar on tea, you might put sugar in a tea or a coffee, but you would never add that much in. But when it's disguised in kind of like chocolate and fizzy pop and stuff like that, where we just were so unaware. Yeah.
I think you're right, Brian, as well. Sometimes we may have 2 cans of fizzy pop. We might have a couple of chocolate bars over the course of a day, and then over the course of a week it might be even more. So just think, that much sugar's going in, which isn't going to be good for our body, which we'll find out in a second. It's not going to be good for our body at all. If you're wondering as well, sweets, chewy sweets, fizzy sweets, things like that, they've got about the same, maybe a touch more sugar in than these two put together. Okay, so maybe 20 plus. Okay, so should we have a look and see what might happen after?
Okay, so we've had a little look at how much sugar goes in to foods and what foods contain a lot of sugar. And now we're never saying, never have these foods, but we're kind of sort of saying if we have them too much, they can be harmful to our health, okay? And this question here says, why are too many of these sugars not good for us, yeah? So you might have some of these answers yourselves there, but they can harm your teeth. It's a real fast track way to cause tooth decay in your mouth, having too much sugar. It can make you put on weight, okay? So even though a can of cola has 0 grams of fat in it, the sugar, if it's not being burned off, can be stored as body fat, and that can lead to weight gain, okay? It could get a sugar rush, so the sugar is broken down very quickly in our body. There isn't a big process for it to go through in our digestive system, so we get that sugar very quickly in our bloodstream, and it can make us feel, like you've got lots of energy, but then very quickly as well, it can make you feel very tired and restless and irritable and hard to concentrate as well. It can, especially in school, if people having like a sugar crash in school, that's going to make it feel like a very long day. It's when, potentially the behaviour problems and just like I say, just missing out on a lot of learning as well. Okay, so there's some of the reasons why too many sugars isn't good for us, okay? And we did mention teeth, and if you went to the dentist and you had a dental checkup and the dentist saw teeth like that, I think the dentist would be quite happy. Do you agree? Yeah, nice, white, shiny teeth, all in the right places, looks good, okay? If the dentist opened your mouth and saw teeth like those, okay, they don't look as good, do they? Not good, okay? They're kind of sort of like, they're very rotted, some have been taken out, they've got like silver caps put in there, all kind of stained and brown, Gums don't look very healthy. This is not good shape for anyone. This is obviously an extreme case of tooth decay, okay? We know this is when someone's having, maybe 10 cans of pop a day, not brushing the teeth, not going for regular dental checkups. This can happen. But we do know that a lot of people are having teeth extracted when they're not ready to come out or at a very young age, Okay, so it is important to keep on top of our dental hygiene, okay? The next slide is looking at why too much fat is bad for us. Do you want to go through this one?
So like Bryce mentioned, why sugar's not too great for us. Too much fat is equally as bad for us, if we have that all the time. It can make us put on weight maybe over time. If you're having fatty foods on a regular basis. It can make exercise feel harder. How many of you have done exercise like after eating maybe a takeaway or having something that hasn't really kind of agreed with us, something that's higher in fat? It feels really difficult, doesn't it? Can make us feel tired quicker, lack of energy, things like that. Long term, it might be able to, or it might cause something like a heart attack or a stroke, That's just a build-up of the fat in our body. It might just kind of leave a little bit of plaque or a build-up of fatty tissue on the arteries, but that will be further down the line if you had it every day for every meal all week long, Okay, so the final one, diabetes. You might have heard of diabetes. It's quite a common thing these days. Again, diabetes, to do with your blood sugar levels, that can come from having too much fat or sugar in your diet, okay? So, if we're looking at fat, quite an interesting one to come on to now with the little props we have. When people think about fat, they don't really think too much about it other than you might feel certain parts of your body have it, but this is what fat tissue actually looks like. So if we were to look or peel back our skin, the fatty tissue in our body looks pretty similar to that. So kind of a bit squidgy, a bit like a cloud or fluffy. We've had suggestions, a bit like mashed potato, turnipy, okay, squidgy, This is what 1 pound of muscle looks like, okay? So very smooth, a little bit smaller, smoother, denser, okay? So that's 1 pound of fat and 1 pound of muscle. If we go a bit further and look at 5 pounds of fat, okay? That's what 5 pounds of fat tissue looks like, okay? Look, a big spongy cloud or a big dollop of turnip, isn't it? And this one is 5 pounds of muscle. So you can probably notice the difference there, guys, in the size, shape, texture, of the two. Okay, hands up if you would like more of that. No one, I hope. Hands up if you would like a bit more lean tissue. So this is much healthier for our bodies. And the way we get more of this and less of this is to be very active or pretty active during the week, okay? So getting your 60 minutes of exercise in each day, okay? And eating a nice, healthy, well-balanced diet, okay? Treats here and there, absolutely fine, but not all the time. More of this, less of this.
Okay, so brings us on to our final slide before we get on and do the food demonstration, and it's just talking about sugar and fat swaps, because sometimes we want to eat healthier, but sometimes finding the healthy alternatives can be a little bit tricky. Okay, so first question says here, what could you swap unhealthy snacks for? Okay, so instead of having a bar of chocolate, a packet of crisps, a bag of sweets, we could swap these snacks, because we will want snacks to keep us going in between meals. Sometimes whole grain cereal, so a little bowl of cereal, especially if it's later in the day, you might have a little bit of Weetabix, something like that, that's absolutely fine. A piece of fruit, you've got apples, oranges, bananas, pears in the fruit bowl. Last thing you want to do is leave them so long that they go all brown and horrible. So fancy a snack, pick up a piece of fruit as you pass them. That's a really good alternative. Only 5 a day. Sugar-free drinks. So if someone did come to you and say, I've done a load of full sugar pop, switching initially to a sugar-free version will take out a lot of the sugar. You'll still have sweeteners and possibly caffeine, things like that, but you won't have all of that sugar. So that could be a good sort of initially, a better swap for someone who does like a fizzy drink would be to take a little bit of no added sugar diluted juice, in the bottom of a glass, and top that up with plain fizzy water. Put a couple of ice cubes in, and you've got a really nice fizzy drink there with a lot less sugar. Okay, crackers, so you need your Jacob's crackers, your oat cakes, things like that, with maybe like a small piece of cheese on there, okay, something like that, like a little cheese triangle, a baby bell, something like that. That's going to be a healthy snack, that's going to be quite sort of filling as well. Breadsticks, veg sticks, chopped up veg sticks, things like carrots, cucumbers, celeries, peppers, those dipped into sort of like a hummus dip if you like that, or like a little bit of a cream cheese or something like that. That would be a nice healthy snack as an alternative to sort of like your crisps and your biscuits and things that we've just been mentioning. Okay, and what could you do to have less fat in food? So if you're cooking food, so especially things like bacon or sausages, things like that, you could grill those instead of frying them in a frying pan, because as you're grilling, a lot of the fat is kind of coming out of the meat and it's being collected in the tray below, and we're not going to be having that on our plate because it's going to stay there, whereas when we're frying food in the pan, it all stays together and we get a lot of that in our food as we eat as well. That's a great way to have less fat from meat, is to grill it. Eat less fried foods, so having less French fries, less chips, less fried chicken, things like that, that's fried fish. Absolutely, that's going to be a good way to sort of, cut down on our fat massively. So creamy desserts for healthy alternatives such as fruit salad with low-fat natural yogurt. Yeah, so instead of having, a cake or ice cream or something like that all of the time, or like kind of like a chocolatey yogurt, yeah. Those are going to be okay every now and then, but if you did want a sort of a bit of a dessert, you want to be healthier, chop up some fresh fruit and add a low-fat natural yogurt to it, which would kind of sort of, make it taste creamy, but it wouldn't have all the extra fat as well. Okay, so that's just a couple of our little ideas for sugar and fat swaps that we could do quite easily. And at the end of the session, after we've done the food demo, we'll have a couple more there as well. Okay, so that's the end of our chat part. We're going to set a couple of things up for the food demonstration, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing what could be a healthy dessert or a healthy snack, and it's going to be tropical fruits with a banana and yogurt dip. And it's one of Change4Life's recipes off their main website. If you like the look of it, the link will be at the end, and you can follow that link to have a try for yourself. Okay, so like we said, following on from our chat around fats and sugars in our foods and drinks, we said we were going to do another Change4Life recipe demonstration with a recipe taken from the main Change4Life website. We thought, since we've been talking about sugar and kind of desserts and things like that, we'd do something that would give a bit of natural sweetness, but from healthy foods. So what we've got here is a tropical fruit salad, if you like, with a banana dip. Okay, so the ingredients that we've used here, as following the recipe, is strawberries, mango, pineapple, and banana, and some low-fat natural yogurt. So dead straightforward. We've done a little bit of preparation already, just to speed this up a little bit. But you've got your strawberries, your chopped mango, chopped pineapple. You get one ripe banana, and all you do is going to slice it and then put it in a bowl, mash it together. Okay, and then from there you're just going to add in 4 tablespoons of low-fat natural yogurt, and then mix that together. Just before we get on to do that, before we have a little try to let you know what it's like, all we've got to mention is, we've got to make sure that we do wash our hands before we're preparing food, and we washed our hands, and we've also got our gloves on just to prevent any spread of germs, which we don't want to do. Okay, so we'll put in there now 4 tablespoons of low-fat natural yogurt, 3, 4, okay, and then just going to mix that together with a banana. And this is just kind of making a banana dip, so you're going to get the creamy, tangy flavour from the yogurt, but it's also going to be quite sweet with the banana, yeah.
Looks really good.
And it's all mixed together. Just going to mash that banana a little bit more, yeah. And that's mixed with the yogurt. And it's so simple. That's all you've got to do to get a nice dessert, or like say like a snack on like a sunny day or something like that. That'll be quite nice. And it's just kind of taking a little bit of the food from there. Now you could do this with kind of cocktail sticks if you wanted to, yeah. Obviously forks work fine as well. And then it's just dead simple from there. You just kind of taking the fruit on the fork, dipping it into the banana yogurt dip, and then having a little try.
Good.
That's really nice.
You passed it across bright.
Yeah.
Socially distanced and all that.
So you got the fruit with all the sweetness, and then the creamy yogurt dip. It's quite nice.
Really good.
Yeah. Dead easy. So easy that even we can do it. So absolutely brilliant.
So guys, well, just remember, if some of these fruits aren't your favourites, why not use your favourite fruits? So things like blueberries might go well.
Yeah.
Pears, apples, I love those fruits. Get them involved, that'll work just as well. So if you've enjoyed that, guys, found today's session useful, by all means give it a go. If you need to go over it again, the whole session, fats and sugars, have a watch through it again. but we'll be doing a different recipe on our next topic, which will be breakfast, so join us for that one. Okay, thanks. Bye.